All right, hey, what's going on, guys? So I have something very important to talk about today. It's something that the Lord often puts on my heart that I speak on, but I want to share a little bit more in detail with a few verses, as well as just how God has worked in my life, but also just this problem right now of many people not wanting to desire and hunger for truth and righteousness. And there's many people right now, they're divided, they're confused, and they're being eaten alive by so many other movements and cultures and misinformation and quite honestly, their own pride and their own worldview and purview. And that's really what it comes down to, because God offers it to a lot of people. God offers the truth, and he allows, even the internet, he allows good people to go out there and to take a stand for something, but people refuse to believe and to research and to really come to an understanding of the truth. And so I just wanted to share a couple of things because, again, this is an issue that a lot of us, we don't really wrestle with. And we think we know something, and what the Lord has shown me is that a lot of us, because we grew up on a certain, culture. We've observed things. So many of us, we observe things for years and years and years, and we believe that to be truth, but it's actually confusing and crossing what is an observation and what is a preference and what is culture versus what is actually doctrine and what is actually biblical and what is actually truth. And so I don't want to talk just about scripture and doctrine. That's true as well, for which you must know a solid understanding of who God is, of the Bible and all that. But I'm also talking about what is truth in the world, right? So you have, for example, two kids that are telling you, hey, no, I did, mommy, that, he did it, or she did it, or whatever it is. You go to a court case and you talk about, two witnesses and two people, defendant and prosecutor and whatever, they're saying one thing, but the other person is saying something different. And to be able to discern what it is that is true, what it is that's fake, that part is something that we need to really continually exercise in our desire for and our and wrestling with that. Otherwise, we're going to get ruined, because so many of us, we are so prideful and we're so ignorant, and we don't want to believe these things, right? And so I just want to share a couple of verses here. 2 Timothy verse 4, it says, "For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lusts shall they heap to themselves teachers having itchy ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and they shall be turned onto fables." Okay, so I'm gonna table that and then go to Psalms. Okay, Psalms chapter 25, verse 5. It says, "Lead me in thy truth and teach me, for thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. Remember, O Lord, thy tender mercies and thy loving kindnesses, for they have been ever of old. Remember not the sins of my youth, nor my transgressions. According to thy mercy, remember thou me for thy goodness' sake, O Lord. Good and upright is the Lord, therefore will he teach sinners in the way. The meek will he guide in judgment, and the meek will he teach his way." And I just want to share a couple of things that have helped me and that I believe is going to be a strong word for you, because the Lord has put this on my heart, especially in this season right now. And I've had multiple seasons where I was hungering really for the Lord. I was hungering after him in such a way. And I spoke briefly the other day about how in the last 4 years, I've just been seeking him wholeheartedly and just wanting to know the truth. There was another time where I was so much in anguish right after I graduated. So I graduated undergrad, and for a year, I couldn't get a job. And then I went to grad school for another year. But during that year, I didn't know I was going to go to grad school, but I was looking for a job, and I was just hungry to seek after him. And of course, I was in pain and I was struggling because I couldn't find work. But in that time, I remember I was hungering and seeking the Lord, but he was consequently teaching me also about sound doctrine. He was teaching me about the ways of the world and how some things are operating. And he was teaching me how to discern proper news. And that's when I was learning a lot about left and right. I was learning about how there are false flag events. I was learning about how there are cover-ups, how there is a narrative, stories, and how people push agendas. I was learning about a lot of so-called conspiracies that I believe were true. There's so many about 9/11. There's so many about economics and the finance industry, about stock manipulation, financial manipulation. There's a lot about the food industry, about chemicals and pesticides, and the fishing industry. There's a lot about even the medical industry, pharmaceutical, about cures for cancer existing, but because of the business model not working. And there's so many different things, right? I also learned a lot about eschatology. I learned a lot about the end times, how to interpret and how to really go through Revelations, how to go through Daniel. And the Lord in that year really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And it's because I was hungering and I was thirsting and seeking after the truth, because I said, Father, I want to know what it is that's going on in the Word, in the world, how to understand your character, how to understand what it means to suffer for you, to understand what it means to wait on you, and many other things. And because I was trying to not itch after, like 2 Timothy says, I wasn't having itchy ears for whatever doctrine that I wanted to hear myself, but instead I was listening and waiting on what would be the truth. And because I had a genuine desire, I was able to, like it says in Psalms, I was able to be taught in judgment, and the Lord guided me in judgment, and he taught me his way and how to really discern and understand the world. And a lot of that is because I humbled myself. And it says meek. Other translations say humility and humble people. But in the same essence, it's your posture before the Lord and saying, man, Lord, I rid myself of all my preconceived notions. I rid myself of everything and anything that would be bias. Help me to search through it and look through it. I know that, when this man speaks, everyone hates him. When even President Trump speaks, when certain people speak, but they're crying out, they're saying these things on Twitter. Like, why is it that this guy is saying these things as a president on Twitter? Why are some people on the mainstream media saying certain things with such emotion? Help me to sort through that. It's not about the guy who's the loudest in the room. It's not about the guy who seems to have said, I have fact checkers. Oh, no, I have, these world-renowned guys that understand it. Instead of just eating that up, let me discern and kind of sort through it, Lord. And won't you give me wisdom and discernment to be able to really understand this, Lord? And because I was able to do that, the Lord was really in the spirit. And again, this is not something that anybody really understands unless you really have that posture, like it says in these two passages. If you have that posture, if you have that desire to do this, then God will show that to you, because He doesn't just leave people empty for not knowing and getting conclusions to the truth. He will respond to you because it's a righteous thing. Those that hunger and thirst for righteousness, they shall be satisfied, right? They will know and they will have that be quenched. And so you have to be able to come before Him in that manner. And not everybody will understand this. Not everybody is going to do this. And I can't even begin to tell you, after having gone on YouTube and after having interacted with so many people and reading comments and people even messaging me all the time still, I can tell when somebody has that bit of pride, when they have that little bit of, I don't believe that. And I've witnessed and I've been, and they'll say things like, I've been a Christian for 30 years and I've never seen that. Or they'll say like, oh no, all the experts and these guys are saying it, so I can't believe that. And because of that pride and because of that inability to be meek, to humble yourself, to want to know the truth, it's hindering you. It's hindering people from being open and to really understand really what's going on instead of looking past, someone's supposed image that other people have said, like, oh no, that's a bad guy. He's a sinner. He did this. Don't believe him. And again, I don't want to go into fallacies, but so many people, they'll say like, oh no, it's because I'm a doctor, you should believe me. Or no, he's a murderer, so don't believe him, right? And I've talked about this before, but everybody had their own issue in their sins. A lot of them were murderers. Saul and Moses, everybody in the Bible, they had something, except that we don't see them that way. We see them objectively. We see them from a outside point of view, and we don't hold that against them over their head, right? And because so many of us were clouded, we don't desire to really see things objectively. We don't see past it. And even for President Trump or many other people, I really wonder, like, man, like this person is saying this, but other people are bashing him. What is it, Lord, that's true? Won't you help me to really understand and filter through these things? And when you understand underlying movements of Satan, when you understand, liberal movements, when you understand that there's a deeper work behind things, that some people want to distort, the truth and give you false flag events, and they want to give you a narrative to tell you these things, and people react, right? They react, and they're at the first level. When something comes out, and let's say there's a mass shooting, right, or something, and people say, "Oh yeah, we need to ban guns," or see what happened, and then because everybody's so emotional, they jump on that and they just say, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea. We should get rid of that. We should get rid of police. We should defund them, or we should do." And again, I don't want to get into these controversial topics, but they're examples, right, of how there are things that are going on in the world, and everybody's jumping to it. Everybody's jumping because they're operating on the first level. They only react to what they believe is truth, except really wanting to take a step back and saying, man, is that even truth, first and foremost? And if it is, why is it that somebody's doing this? What is it that the people on the left are doing, that are on the right that are doing? What is the objective point of view? Lord, I want to get deeper in understanding truth. I want to get deeper when people say, no, I had a dream. Really, prophecy exists. Oh no, this spiritual healing or this miraculous healing, it really does exist. God is really working in this area or that area. The gift of tongue, it really is something that exists. And when some people say that and they really want to advocate for these things, you have to discern that, right? And so many other things as well in terms of theology and teaching. And like it says, so many people, they hunger and thirst for and have itchy ears for false doctrine. And so I know I'm just saying a lot of things right now out of my heart, but what the Lord was showing me was that he's really going to distinguish those that know the truth and that hunger and desire for it, because God isn't sitting there wanting to spread misinformation, wanting to spread a fleshly desire or an opinion that somebody has. And so many people, they have that. They're so loud and they're like, yeah, no, I have an idea and I believe it's from God, but really they're clouded and their pride is overwhelming them, and they don't even know that they're spreading things that's false and not true and not of the Lord. And he's going to raise other people up that want to be a megaphone for truth and for the right things. And of course, everyone is messy. They stumble and they'll have their own little issues and things like that. But God right now is looking for people that is hungering and thirsting for righteousness, that's hungering for the truth and a desire to be taught, a desire to be led by the Lord. And unless you're meek, unless you're humble, unless you submit yourself to the Lord, he's not going to want to use you for bigger and better things, to spread his name, to spread the gospel truth, to spread correct theology, to be a teacher of the word, to be a teacher or an evangelist of even what is really going on, so that he can God could counteract all the deception in the world right now. And so right now he's doing a lot of things, and he's going to raise up more people, and he's also going to take away the platforms that other people have that are evil, that are spreading things that is of their opinion and not of God's truth and of God's way. And so just wanted to encourage you guys with this, because be on the lookout for who's rising and who's not, as well as what's true and what's not, what's misinformation, what's fake news versus what is really true. And so I want to encourage you guys, you have to have that thirst. You have to really want to seek it in order for God to open your eyes. And when he does, it's going to be out of it's going to be out of this world. And a lot of people, even as you watch this video, you're not going to understand that because you don't have humility. You don't want to humble yourself before the Lord. And instead, you're anchoring off your own thoughts, your own ideology, your own pride, and it's not going to bode well for you. And so take it to heart, pray about it, go to the Lord about it. And I really guarantee you, he will open your perspective and your eyes, and you will be really surprised at how to look at the world, how to see what God is doing, what Satan's doing, and to discern properly. And so God bless you guys. I'll talk to you guys very soon.